All right, and welcome to the HODL review. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. This is going to be a short and to the point video. We are doing audio only, just testing out a new format. Just made it easier for this specific video, but I definitely appreciate everyone out there, all my subscribers, everyone that's tuning in to the HODL review. Today we're going to talk about XRP Petition madness, and that's exactly what it is. It's complete madness. Ripple dumping XRP in a petition to stop them. What in the world are we talking about over here? Now, before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about price expectation and movement within the digital asset market. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about XRP, but let me start by saying this. We're starting to see more and more movement in banks, with the banks, towards mass adoption of digital assets. And we just talked about that the other evening. Now, also positioning themselves attract wealth building opportunities, and those who are just simply control over seeing this new sector bring about economic growth. They're saying, do we want economic growth or do we want to control the economy? It's one or the other. Now, from a banking perspective, JP Morgan, as we all know, announced this past year their move toward coin. Now what we're starting to see then are these banks that are beginning to really grind, and they're starting to show more and more interest into not just launching their own, but into accepting the fact that digital assets are here to stay, and digital asset are important to this space. Now there's really, and I talk about this a lot, there's a blurring of the lines as exchanges and banks are really beginning to compete over the same, what we'd call traditional banking functions: investing, earning interest, loans, holding your currency, whatever currency that might be. Now, when we look at that, we have the exchanges having first movement advantage space versus the banks that have long established customer base and a long established history of market presence. So that's the competition that we're seeing, and it's getting exciting. We can all agree and admit to that. So now, with all this being said, what I want to say is that today I actually opened up my banking app. I'm getting ready to pay a few bills with it, and boom, trivia of today. Their trivia question. I would have thought the trivia question was all about cryptocurrency. So here we are, a traditional bank asking their app users if they know about cryptocurrency. Why are they doing that? I think that's a big question that we all should ask ourselves. That's because they want to make it more of a commonplace. It becomes Main Street conversation. And it was interesting because their question was, what does crypto and cryptocurrency mean? And obviously, if you don't know, then, but it's interesting. They want you to say, hey, it's not something that is out there, on the fringe. It's actually something banks are talking about. And it's great. So this is banks that are interested in normalizing the discussion on cryptocurrency. I think that's awesome. Now, think about that while we move back into XRP. Now, I actually prepared this this past week. There was all this conversation about the petition over XRP and who knows best. Is it the XRP hodler that is really their thought process? I want to make money right now. It's not good enough to have the XRP price point where it's at, and they want it to be higher, and they want to start pointing fingers and castigating those companies that are actually involved in this digital asset space and trying to build something amazing in this digital asset space. So now again, these are my 2 cents regarding the movement or the lack thereof of the XRP price point. But what we can say is a petition and a ridiculous threat of forking XRP over this so-called Ripple dumping of XRP. Now, is there potential price manipulation to create some stability with XRP? Maybe. It's possible. But we're starting to see a transition that doesn't happen overnight. It's a transition that's going to take, a couple years at least. And it's been going on for a couple years at least, where we start seeing banks that are normally focused on using fiat currency, and they're starting little by little to dip their toe and now their foot, and now they're wading in the water, and pretty soon they're going to be all in the digital asset space. Ripple is doing something none of the others are doing, and that's moving banks, traditional brick and mortar banks, into this digital economy, away from SWIFT, really focusing on how do they drive this payment space and do something that no one else has done, and that's what Ripple is doing. And then you have these guys, are they out of their minds? Are they for real? They're going to have a petition to say to Ripple, like Ripple's going to listen to them. Does the person launching the petition, do they actually think that they know better than the CEO and CFO and CTO and all the others that are involved in Ripple, what's best for developing Ripple's business? Or, does the individual investor in a digital asset, speculative investment, have some more say? Now, it's crazy because if you think that you have some sort of voting rights, which you have none, if you think you can gain some sort of financial incentive from your XRP holdings connected directly to the gains and losses of Ripple, you're not holding a security. There are no expectations. So yes, there's a lot of great news, but great news and pricing changes of XRP in a market that's super sluggish across the board. You're seeing big fluctuations, ups and downs. We've been in a year plus bear market in the digital asset space. Big movements, big swings, and XRP is staying relatively stable because, again, one of the biggest users right now of the XRP digital asset is really identifying, again, this major change in the banking space. But you have no right whatsoever, no voting right. You're not invested in Ripple. You're holding a digital asset called XRP. This digital asset, obviously, yes, it's built on a game-changing platform, has extremely important features to support cross-border payment, rapid movement of money with very little cost involvement, and actually a mechanism for full transparency and then some. XRP is an amazing platform for exchange. And that is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, So, so now, again, Ripple is arguably the largest user or implementer of the technology, but they're not the only ones. There's others out there that are utilizing the XRP token and the platform. We see Coil, and they're starting to really ramp up. We see the XRP Tipbot, amongst others, that are really getting and ingrained into this technology. Now, with this in mind, it's really critical that you understand the difference between your holding of XRP and the Ripple plan for global development of its RippleNet platform. Big difference. Two different things, and really to try to push and hold Ripple somehow accountable for the price point of your XRP holding at this point in time is absurd. They're going to do what they need to do for their business. And that's it. You're involved in a speculative investment that we know is focused in the payment space. And let's be happy that there's groups that are trying to develop and build on this platform. That is the most important thing. And, and it was Jungle Inc. Put out a counter petition, which I thought was funny, but his part was keep investing. We want to see Ripple. And that's what they're doing. They're investing a significant sum of XRP and bringing it to those that will be using it. And again, Ripple has stated their intention of essentially replacing SWIFT as the primary providing solution for cross-border payment. That's a significant development. And we really have to watch and see how this space grows and they build on it. The whole space is in its infancy right now. Again, as investors that hold XRP, the digital asset, this isn't a stake in Ripple. And then now, if Ripple ever launches an IPO for stock, whether that stock is tokenized or not through the traditional means, I would buy that. I would definitely invest in that. And then when you invest in that, then you have voting rights because now you're buying a stock in a company. You're holding XRP. You do not have a stock in that company. It's not a security. Now, Ripple is doing what they need to do to build their business, and they and only they know what's good for developing their own business. I'll have to reemphasize that a few times. Now, the XRP price movement isn't connected to good news. And if it is, it's FOMO or FUD. You'll see little movements. But at the end of the day, it's all about utility. It's about supply and demand thereafter for those that are utilizing it as a solution. Now we see that R3, we see that Ripple through RippleNet will be using XRP. We see XRapid as the primary tie-up to use considerable amounts of XRP. And so there's a lot involved in what needs to happen. And so we do see MoneyGram. MoneyGram is the best test case scenario of the utility of RippleNet, whether that's through the XCurrent and the XRapid. So it's really, really, starting to grow, starting to build, and we're starting to see some major development. Now, this petition or threat of action is, again, it's just a reflection of individuals that want to make money quick, have a make money quick attitude, doesn't exist. Isn't the reality right now. And again, when you're investing in a technology in its infancy, you're investing in a speculative investment that takes time to develop. That's it, period. Now, another big consideration, on the price movement, again, is the relative stability of XRP with the larger swings seen from the other altcoins and Bitcoin this past year. And man, it's so critical also to point out that XRP is really one of the only tokens with a real world use case that's actually being implemented in the real world, which is XRapid. So again, this is, I'm gonna, end with this. Please remember, you don't have voting rights in Ripple. In fact, you don't have any shares in Ripple. You don't have a stake in Ripple or deserve any benefit or reward from the developments coming from the efforts of Ripple, the company. XRP utility will bring about demand. Higher demand through direct utility will impact price. Will that impact be immediate, or is it a few years out? I don't know if anybody really knows at this point. But we've seen comments from the Ripple team that says that the price point of XRP needs to be higher in order for them to facilitate all of the demand in utility and liquidity that they're going to need for all the different banks that are out there. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hit the notifier bell to make sure you get a notification every time we upload a new video. And to end with this, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving any form of financial advice, but I think that this video was critical to make as a response to the lunacy that sometimes happens out there in the space. So enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Thank you.